Welcome to a Gladiator deck tech and gameplay video. I just played an event for Thursday night. It was kind of minimum turnout, but I did think to record my gameplay. So we've got 3 matches for you today. And I wanted to talk about this deck, which I've been working on for quite a while and iterating on. Back to the when we were in Abzan Hell meta, where the starting point for this deck was uh, adding blue to the Abzan deck because I wanted to be able to bright glass for Mockingbird. Primarily, I think was the start. There were some other cards, but primarily Mockingbird was the starting point, and also uh, Ranger Captain of VS for Mockingbird, Ranger VS for Mockingbird. That was sort of the core of the idea at the time, and it was also the main strategy that came with this deck was cutting down on the amount of graveyard synergy pieces we had, except for the best ones. Like I still call this deck a 3 animator when I'm filling out melee, but that's just because I think of it as Abzan with blue. And that Abzan deck was the 3 animator deck. Even though it's like the only pieces really I'm on are Chthonian Nightmare and Luris and Jet Collector. Really are my only graveyard recursion pieces at this point, but sort of the principle of the deck. But the way it's gone is I'm all in on Graveyard Hate. We've got Ghost Vacuum, we've got Soul Cauldron, we've got Scavenging Ooze, we've got Viconia, and I've got Lion Sash. And I've also played with Hearse and the Raccoon. But those currently I'm not on literally every piece I could be. And the reason I like this build of the deck is with Oasis of Renewal, there is another payoff for your Graveyard Hate to then become value engines. And that just makes me feel better about going all in on a strategy that's on cards that are frankly dead in some matchups. Specifically, like a mono red aggro deck that's trying to kill you, which is the format in general currently is pretty red, I would say. In Abzan is not the primary deck at all anymore. I'd say red decks are the boogeyman, though there's people on plenty of other stuff. And Reanimation, which I 5-0'd with this past week, but just didn't think to record. Technically it was a 4-0 because one of my opponents had tech issues. And then I played that deck yesterday and went 0-3. So, there's always variability with this stuff. But the reason I like this deck is we're all in on Toolbox, and it just feels, except when you get run over, or, well, look, there are always ways to lose, but this is a game plan strategy I feel comfortable with. It feels like I give myself a good chance to win games, and a lot of play to make mistakes, but also have fun. Compelling games of Magic the Gathering. And we're just sort of like the principle of the deck is being all in on Bright Glass Gear Hulk. So I can play a ton of 1-drops, keep my curve low, and I just kind of like that idea of really going in on spells that cost 1 mana. So, Giant Killer, extremely versatile thing you can pull. All the creatures also come with Ranger Eos and Ranger Captain Eos. Giant Killer, I like. It's just flexible. Gives you different stuff. It's not the best. A lot of times you'll be looking at like a bunch of 3-power creatures and you're like, why do I have this? But when it's good, it's really good. Giver of Runes, just solid. Mother of Runes, absurd magic card, just insane. A lot of times, if I'm grabbing 2 things, I'm grabbing Mother of Runes and Mockingbird. Obviously, Ocelot Pride and Soul Warden is another. Can't go wrong. I'm on Path to Exile and Source of Plowshares and Fatal Push. Because again, those aggressive and prismatic ending. You just need removal. It's like, I just never have enough removal. The threats are so good. I'm currently on Seam Rip. I'm not on the other one. Portable Hole. Just because it's a lot of slots, We're slot limited. And I feel like enchantment removal is a little less common than artifact removal. So I've been on both. I've tried the deck with playing both of them. Currently, I like just playing Seam Rip. Static Prison. Sometimes this card is awkward, but a lot of time it's just 1 mana answer a thing. And the game is over before it matters that it comes back. Also, you can, in a rare circumstances, you can replay it off Aluris. Mostly, though, it's just, sometimes you just need a thing gone. This card's extremely powerful for 1 mana. Tome of Gadwick. I'll talk about so I have an equipment package. Just kind of the latest thing I've done with the deck, where I went off the equipment package for a bit, but now with specifically the last arena packs, I'm back on it because we have Umezawa's Jite is the big one to me. And I've thought about some of the other stuff, but right now it's really Jite, and I'm trying Shadow Spear again, which I've often cut, but the thing I really do want is life gain, and the equip 2 just feels like so much mana a lot of the time, which is the same problem Jite has, but sometimes you just gotta do it. It's so helpful, particularly with a lot of these. There are a lot of decks now that are just trying to currently. I've been finding there are a lot of decks that are just trying to race you, and they're not playing as much removal because they're just gonna make sure you can't block, and they're gonna kill you. And if you just put a Shadow Spear on a Bright Glass Gear Hulk, they don't win the race. Obviously, GTA can gain new life, but it's mostly just like you just murder all their creatures. Absurd. I'm on Grave Expectations currently because it's sometimes, just never enough graveyard hate. And I do like that this is instant speed that they don't see coming, because a lot of the graveyard hate is you can try and play around it. It's to some extent because it's onboard effects, and just if graveyard hate is bad, you have the other mode to heist their library. Often heisting a library is just the best thing to do. Just treat it as a cantrip. that gives you incredible card selection, like 3 cards. And also just it gains 3 life, so it's not dead in the if you're up against a super aggro deck. Nethergoyf is just a big booty. Sometimes you just need a big booty on the field. Haywire Might, I love being able to pull it off your creature tutors. Best 1 mana remove an artifact thing, or artifact or enchantment thing. I think. I'm on birds. I'm on Noble Hierarch. Now that we have Noble Hierarch, and Deathrite Shaman could be on Ignoble Hierarch. Could be on, Delighted Halfling, or the human that does white mana. Whose name I'm blanking on. Avacyn's Pilgrim. But I like these 3 are kind of the best for this deck. Noble Hierarch is 3 colors I need. Specifically white and green are the 2 colors that I need the most in quantities because I need to be able to cast Gear Hulk. Being able to add black is less important because I only ever need 1 pip of black and then I'm fine. Ghost Vacuum, incredible 1 mana graveyard hate. Can be an endgame threat if it just sits there. But mostly it's, it's just picking off specific things. When they try to grab them, you just, there's some strategies you just shut down. Just kind of, but I really want to shut them down, so I'm kind of super redundant on that. Shadow Spear, I haven't really run this in this deck a lot. I'm trying it out. Prismatic Ending, just great removal. And Green Sun is just a really good creature tutor that's more efficient, even though it can only grab green creatures, but it's just so much more mana efficient than the other ones that take 2 green pips plus X. Phalia, absurd magic card. I'm on Stone Fortune Cloud. Cloud is a little annoying in this deck. Sometimes you just, the 2 white is a pain point at 2 mana. But it's so good that you just deal with it. Chthonian Nightmare is like one of the reasons to be in black. It's the reason I still call the deck 3 Animator. Just such a powerful card at churning your deck and just an incredible engine. Marionette Apprentice is mostly in because it's so good with Chthonian Nightmare. Cards that produce 2 bodies are very compelling. I've thought about the spider. I've even thought about the spider one that from Through the Omen Pass that creates a 2/1, but is an 0/1 that can flip. Not currently on that, but could be. Birthing Ritual, turn your 2-drops into 3-drops. Very good in this deck. Again, one of those, this is what the deck is trying to do. The reason I like it, and I like it because then you get into a Jet Collector. Gives you the material. I don't know. Play a Stoneforge Mystic, get a Tome of Gadwick, turn it into a Wary Zone Guard, and you're cooking. So I'm on Bill and Scythecat Cub mostly for Nadu things. Also, synergizes with Tome of Gadwick, but those I like having that package, even if it doesn't honestly come up that often with the way this deck is built. Uh, sometimes these cards feel really annoying, but most of the time they feel extremely powerful. It's not like there are 2 mana. If there were 2 mana 4/4s that were just default vanilla 4/4s, maybe I would play those. But uh, considering these can basically be 2 mana 4/4s basically immediately is pretty good. Jet Collector, really absurd. Magic card, just incredible. Because we have a lot of black mana, we can't. It is possible to use it before getting to 4 things in the bin, but getting 4 things in the bin is not that hard. It is sometimes you're not there, and it's frustrating, but not everything can be easy. Springheart Nintuko, absurd card. Verdant Dread. Again, like early, it's kind of bad, but it gives you such a long-term threat if you ever start powering it out with like a flip with a ferocious fanatic Aronis or whatever. Absurdly powerful. Wingbright Thief is also one I'm just started being on because it's a flyer that gains you life, which is kind of the stuff I want. Also, it does an ETB, so then you can sacrifice it to Birthing Ritual or whatever. Again, this is a card that I think is replaceable, but it kind of does the thing that I want out of my flex slots given our current metagame. Vilforstrix, absurd magic card, really good. Fiend Artisan, extremely good for a 2-drop. Threatens to be really strong, or can just get a big booty. Maybe attack. Leaf Loop Guide. It's not good at blocking the turn you play it, but basically other than that, it's extremely good and scary. Agatha's Soul Cauldron, just really good when you're playing cards like Mother of Runes and Giver of Runes, regardless. But is also just, shut off your opponent's graveyard lines. Recruiter of the Guard. Ranger Captain, that's like what the deck is. Toolbox stuff. Skyclave I've also cut before, but it's just too good. You just need stuff that removes stuff, and it's creature tutorable. It just answers problems, and you need to answer problems. Thieving Even, just, we don't have Psychic Frog, so this is like the best Ophidian. That 4 toughness is really good. Evasion, really good. Barrogoyf. This card's ridiculous and like exactly the kind of card I want to play in a meta where red decks are very good. Bargo Triller, Graveyard Hate, that is also a land and tutorable. Oppo Agent probably could be cut, but trying it out. Obviously, if you get someone with it, it's really good. And if you don't get someone with it, it's a 3/2. Ups and downs. Bridgeworks Battle lands, that's basically removal. This is one I wasn't playing a lot, but I've got by it too many times. So I'm like, nope, this card's just good. It's just good. Just play it, you dingus. Wary Zone Guard. another absurd magic card. And I will say I am on Field of the Dead, even though I'm not on prime time. So just getting your, if just this card gets absurdly big really fast, and it ramps you. It's just doing everything. We're on a ton of fetch lands. Eldritch Evo, another absurd card. We're only ever going to 4, so nothing too spicy, but you want to get to break less, then you can do all kinds of things. Griss, again, you can pull it off Recruiter of the Guard. It's removal, really good. Nadu does Nadu things. And that's mostly the deck. On Boseiju, Surveillance, Starting Town. Oh, and I'm on Yavimaya, which is a new ad, because, it just fixes your green mana problems. You're double green for Verdant Dread, for Bright Glass. Eldritch Evo, like, it's not super relevant, but it's nice. The thing I think actually is the best about this is late game making your fetches just add mana where you don't have to crack them if you don't need to. That's really good. Yeah. Let's get into the games. Alright, so this is match 1 against Seismic Wands. This starting hand isn't great. And this Oppo agent would have been much better if I were on the play. Because this is kind of... Now I'm kind of telegraphing this Oppo agent. With holding 3 mana open in my deck. One of the reasons I'm not super high on Opposition Agent in this deck specifically is because I think the Flash mode, while extremely powerful, you're not leveraging it as great in a deck where you're mostly playing at sorcery speed. So that when you're not playing something, when you're leaving your mana open, it's kind of an obvious sign. And now I'm kind of priced into playing it. Also, Yavimaya is kind of screwing me over here. Because it means Seismic doesn't have to crack their fetch land. Also, I should not have played Field of the Dead, because it means I'm an extra turn off of being able to cast to resolve with Bright Glass. But I just wanted the tap land in play, and I didn't think about it enough. But either way, getting thought seized here is pretty backbreaking. Because now I really don't have... Oh, I guess it was fine. I'm wrong. I forgot about Yavimaya. Yavimaya made the physical deadly fine. But all I have is this Wish Enchanter. Now my hand flood is now completely brutal. And this Havoc duo is gonna eat me up. This flying damage is it's a lot. This is what I mean with the red decks being really good at killing you. And I'm just dead to this faithless looting flashback. Yeah. I'm dead. Game 2. Now we get to be on the play. So, you should have a much better time. This is an unkeepable hand. Lands and spells. Let's go. So I want this Spring Heart, but also it doesn't really fit in to the play pattern I want to do. As good as Spring Heart Nantuko is, I kind of Wingbright into Birthing Ritualing it, and then getting to recast it off Luris is the game plan I want to be on. So. Spring Heart's really good, but it doesn't quite fit in there. Might be a mistake. Maybe I should get rid of Luris. But not sure what I'm supposed to pick here, but Evora seems... Well, it probably has to be Evora. Evora is the most obvious turn 2 play. As being more of an engine card. You want to make the blood token to discard those mayhem creatures. And Evora is what gets cast, so. Seismic agrees. That was the right choice. So, cast Deathrite, and, I'm thinking about Verdant Dread, apparently. But I'm going to cast this Birthing Ritual after attacking. And sack this bird. could grab Grist, but I'm gonna grab Fiend Artisan because it's better. Because I don't want to grab Grist and just have it get overrun and die by some haste threat or whatever. Molten Collapse on Deathrite into me drawing the Ghost Vacuum is pretty bad beats for Seismic. I do also have this Line Sash, though. But I think this Line Sash is just going to be Birthing Ritual food because I have the Ghost Vacuum. Yeah, I'm all in on Graveyard Hate. So if this were a Rakdos deck that were less all in on Graveyard synergies, I would probably be having a worse time. Now I should probably just grab the Evora, but I'm going to grab the... I should grab the Evora. I think this is just wrong. Because I'm going to grab the Netherglaive. But with the Ghost Vacuum, I'm going to be hating out the Netherglaive anyway. But it's kind of, the thing is, I'm kind of not super scared of the Evora, and also I'm planning on sacrificing the Skyclave to Birthing Ritual, so I think it's still wrong, but that's why I made that choice in the moment. I did kind of instantly regret it a little. This is tough. What do you? I don't know what grab on this gamble. So the Mayhem creature gets discarded off it, but I hit it with Ghost Vacuum. Now Seismic had another discard outlet into Dauthi Voidwalker. I find annoying because it's just annoying. I want to be able to recast stuff off Luris if I so I'm gonna kill. I'm once again gonna say Evora is fine, but I don't want you to have this other thing. Now we're gonna Ranger Captain. I'm here to greed, so I'm gonna grab Mockingbird and Mother of Runes instead of instead of Soul Warden, Ocelot Pride. Which might just be the better choice, also. Because I can make 2 Ocelot Prides. I can use my Mockingbird to be another Ocelot Pride. And it's not like I could actually Mockingbird copy my Ranger Evios currently, but Mockingbird's such a good card. So is Mom. So I'm not that upset about the choice either. So Madness cards go to like exile first. There wasn't a window for me to Ghost Vacuum. The way there is with the Mayhem cards that can only be done at sorcery speed. And I don't know if the window is this. The other thing is, I don't know if the window is completely there the way it is because of the Evora trigger off the discard. Which makes an obvious timing window where Ghost Vacuum is turned on. So I'm just going to grab this Witch Enchanter as a land, because I've been stuck on 3 mana forever. But I'm also at such a healthy life total. I'm still at 17, so I'm not too worried about anything. So we've got the Bone Shards answer for the Mother of Runes. Now my Peanut Artisan is even bigger. Get a free Gobble on the graveyard. And now I'm just gonna Mockingbird this Fiend Artisan. That's an 8/8, so that I can attack with the one I have. And so, like, if you want to trade, that's fine. Got 2 1-drops. Although this mana is a little awkward if I want to play Birds of Paradise on turn 1. I would need to crack the fetch land for a green-white duel, which would then mean I don't have black mana other than the Birds of Paradise, but I draw an Overgrown Tomb because I'm blessed, and it doesn't matter. I notice Seismic is like really down on cards here. Some brutal mulliganing. So the Fiend Artisan is just a 1/1. I decided to just establish the birthing ritual. There's no 2-drop, so not gonna be sacrificing anything this turn. But this way it's just ready to go if I play anything else in a future turn. It's not like Impetuous Loopmogger is that scary an attacker. Interesting. Seismic doesn't really have blue mana to make the most use out of this Tome of Gadwick, but the Tome is just supplying material that can be discarded, like, and be rummaged away. So I think it's still good. But yeah, Seismic does say didn't think about the lack of fixing on the conjured cards. Play this Baleful Strix because it draws a card, and then I decide not to attack. Baleful Strix can't actually trade because of the first strike, so I just sacrifice it for a Barrowgoyf. It's a pretty good hit. Quality hit. And we've got this Grave Expectations to fire off. Oh, the Bone Shards into the Fiery Temper, though. Madness cooking. But I do have this 3/4. Let's see what the dice spits out. Oh, and we get Seismic's Barrowgoyf. Which, pretty good. Pretty good. I'm actually going to attack here. I'm going to play this Fiend Artisan. And this is just about using all my mana efficiently, I think, is what I'm doing here. Yeah, I think I'm Fiend Artising it and gonna cast Green Sun for 1. It's not the best use of Green Sun, but do get to pull a Deathrite Shaman, and Graveyard Hate is extremely good against Seismic's deck. sometimes you just see the same cards over and over again when you play your 100 card singleton deck. The Wekdu. I'm going to establish this Luris. I think, yeah. Gonna recast this Baleful Strix. So got it. Crack this land, play this Haywire Might. Got a Lion Sash, the only hit. You can sack this Haywire Might, gain 2 life. Seismic gets to Detective's Phoenix onto Impetuous Lootmonger. No, because Impetuous Lootmonger doesn't die to the Baleful Strix the way Evora would. But I can just replay the Baleful Strix. I'm not really under pressure. I got another land. Now I can play this Barrogoyf. Or use this Fiend Artisan. No, I'm just going to attack. Then play the Barrogoyf. I decided to crack this for a Plains so that I don't have to be priced into cracking my fetch land for a shock later. If I want the green mana to remove something. Got an Ocelot Pride and a Grist. And a Scooze. I think I'm gonna grab the Grist. Even though I can't use it yet, it's just very threatening. Seismic has to attack it instead of attacking me. And if it gets to stick around, it's free removal. Feeling pretty good. This kind of grindy match is what this deck excels at. So I am thinking about this a little because there could be a follow-up play that would be better, but that's where Seismic taps out. And that's match 1. Alright, this is match 2. This hand is... You could keep it, but I'm not going to. If your Ocelot Pride gets killed, it's pretty terrible. And if you don't draw land. This is keepable. And I'm going to get rid of the Nethergoyf. I don't actually have black mana to catch this Orcish Bowmaster either, but I've got Soul Warden into Scythecat Cub. And now I do have black mana. And I'm up against mono blue aggro. Flying men, I guess. Now I'm thinking about what I want to use this Bowmaster on. And I think I'm just going to use it on the... make sure my mana's good for the rest of the game. And I'm going to use it on the 2-1. I think. No, I'm going to use it on the Mausoleum Wanderer because I want my Eldritch Evolution to resolve. What am I doing? Or am I just hitting the guaranteed 2? Yeah, I'm hitting the guaranteed 2. Okay. Just want to limit the damage. If Jokes wants to commit more to make the Mausoleum Wanderer do damage, that's fine. Play Scythecat Cub. It's risky to just straight up attack because there could be a flash blocker, but yes, I should have just gone face. But again, if Jukes had a flash creature, they could have just used it to block Bowmaster. The double value of also I don't get the 1/1 counter on my Orc token though is really bad for me. I actually wanted the Orcish Bowmaster alive for the Mockingbird, but that just gives me more life off my Soul Warden. And now Jokes is tapped out, so I can use my Eldritch Evolution without worrying about it being counterspelled. I don't know why I put the counter on the... I should have put the counter on something else. Well, I wasn't thinking. I hadn't thought through what I was using this Eldritch Evolution on, which is going to be this Scythecat Cub, because I'm going to want Bright Glass Gear Hulk. Like I could hit Soul Warden or hit the Orc token into Jet Collector. I think would be the play. Because then I could get my Orcish Bowmaster back. But I'm just going to get Bright Glass. And I'm going to grab this Shadow Spear. Because as I said before, if you Shadow Spear Bright Glass Gear Hulk, suddenly I'm not losing to the race.
No, I'm late for class.
Despite not being able to answer all these threats all at once. A lot of options here. I could Mockingbird the Bowmaster again, but I'm pretty sure this is going to get countered, so I'm deploying the Field Artisan kind of as bait. Like the Fiend Artisan is also just a threat that needs to be answered, or next turn I can commit crimes with it, basically. But yeah, like I'm only taking 4 damage here. I'm at 22. Jokes only has 3 mana to work with. That's a +1 for Shadow Spear and the good Golem. G-Tate, extremely good in this matchup. Soul Warden, a very good top deck, because now I have Eternal in play. That mitigates a lot of the early aggression. Grab the Forest. And I just want to establish this GTA in play before it has a chance to get countered. What's my thought process there? If I don't draw a land though, I am kind of in trouble.
More useful text down on the surface.
And this Tameo flip is really annoying because it means that actually I can't equip the GTA and attack. Got this Seam Rip. I think I'm supposed to use it on like the Hull Creeper, but I'm gonna use it on the Tameo because I don't want the I'm like nervous I'm not gonna have the pressure in time. Again, I needed to draw another mana. So this Hull Creeper's kind of out of GT range. My Soul Warden gets Archmage Charmed. Now, I will say, I'm boned here, but this is very funny because GT's ability is on the GT, not the creature. So, I actually just get to kill this thing. The problem is this Hull Creeper is still just an unblockable creature. So I could play this Barrowglyph, but I'm still just dead. And that's assuming Jux doesn't have, you know, some other threat or counterspell. Like, I'm just super dead here. Require more than 2 lands. So, there's an argument. So the other thing I could have done was not kill the 3/2 and just gain the 4 life. But I don't think that's any better. I think I'm just as dead. Where? I'm just as dead. So I could play the Haywire Might on turn 1, but I just want to get this tap land turn out of the way so that I can cast Oasis of Renewal on time if I need to. Also, I didn't have a 2-drop in my hand, so... Well, if I had drawn a 2-drop, I could have cast it. So now I've just decided I'm just going to establish this Grist. And I'm not super worried about this looter, so I'm just going to plus. Like, I have Haywire Might if this thing gets hit with a Curiosity. So it won't get to draw more than 1 card off that. The looting effect gets to happen, but... And I guess Jokes is so in on being an aggressive deck that he can't afford to go after the Grist. I don't know if the looter gives you the loot if you hit a Planeswalker. Yeah, you only get the loot if you hit a player. Kind of incentivized to not hit my Grist. And, like, I'm just not worried about this looter currently. And I kind of expected that to get countered. So I'm pretty stoked to get those cards. And I'm not super worried about this 2/1. Not the best showing for Oasis renewal. I don't have repeatable graveyard hate currently. Just gonna build up my board. Let's grab this Cheetah. Let's grow this Leap Leaf. Sink into super on Grist is fine. Like I was up to alt loyalty, but I don't have any creatures in my graveyard, so the ult wasn't gonna do anything anyway. Jokes hasn't presented a threat that's worth gristing once, let alone... Well, I guess that's worth gristing. There you go. But... that's scheme. Alright, final match. Me versus Da Butter. And I've got wide-eyed dreams of putting Springheart Nantuko on this Ranger of Eos and getting Fanatic of Ronus Ferocious off of it. Dwyer did say he was dealing with some lag this game on that side. But it didn't feel too bad in the moment to me. I got stifled out of my land. But now I've got this Ghost Vacuum to mostly shut down this Deathrite. And I'll just play this Jite. And be sad at my lack of efficiently doing the thing I wanted to do. Namely, play this Ranger of Eos on turn 3. So that's a extra blue cantrip in the hand, but doesn't exactly have the blue mana to cast it currently. Because of Ghost Vacuum on making death rate more annoying. So I could Spring Heart onto Fanatic. I could just equip this Jite onto Fanatic and attack. I think I'm going to cast this Ranger of Eos, though. Do what I wanted to do last turn. So I do misclick what I meant to target. So I hit oops. Because that is not what I meant to target. But honestly, this might have worked out. This might be a case where I did the wrong thing, but it worked out better. Because the Butter's not using that blue mana, and now doesn't have that land available to Deathrite on this turn, which would have if I hadn't exiled the other land. So I think actually it worked out in my favor for what I did, probably. But it was a mistake. I didn't intend to do that. Verdant Dread, not especially scary yet. Could be scary later. Charming Prince is scary. That Verdant Dread hit could have been scarier. Instead, it's just kind of annoying. All Fate Stalker. I'm gonna yield to get rid of one of my creatures. Hits the Fanatic of Ronus, which unfortunately is the wrong choice. I am frustrated that I can't immediately pop the Spring Heart trigger for a second Ranger. So I'm thinking about other plays. But ultimately, Debutter doesn't actually play a ton of removal. So I think the better play is to just set up the Ranger now, And this is a huge gamble, is leaving this land on top. Because if the butter did have removal for this ranger, or finds removal, then I am in trouble. But getting a second ranger is the way I go from being behind to being ahead in this game. And am just gonna chump block here, because I don't want to go to 6. I pop off this ghost vacuum, which I think is just a mistake. Like, I want to be able to keep the death rate off making mana, but I do lose 2 life here because of this. But it doesn't super matter, because now I get to make a Ranger of Eos token, which I can then... So now I'm thinking about what I'm worried about. But the play here is to just Soul Ward and Ocelot Pride. So I don't die. And also, I have a Ranger of Eos token, which, if Ocelot Pride triggers, means I get another Ranger of Eos. And that's pretty good. And I'm going to equip this Jite, because that's a excellent blocker, is this Ranger of Eos token. And here comes the yacht. And now I get an extra Ranger of Eos with an extra Ranger of Eos trigger. Now I can grab Mockingbird and Mother of Runes. Butter does nothing. I don't know what's in his hand. I assume it's flash spells, or else the play would have been to activate Verdant Dread. I don't know. The fact that I can just Spring Heart into... Oh, it was Nashi. The problem is that I just get to get rid of this Ephemerate. So now she's just getting an Opt. scoops it up. No lands. I wish this hand had 3 lands, but the other problem with this hand is the wooded foothills can only get me white or blue mana. So this hand's pretty awkward, but I am up a game. So I just, you know, I hate to mulligan. It's one of those mulligans that's just like, if I felt more okay about mulliganing. So now I'm thinking of, do I want blue or white mana? Now, I'm going to have to bin this Nadu because it's not a land, but I do get a land. Leaf Leap, terrible at blocking the turn you play it a lot of the time, especially early. Now, neoforming into Abhorrent Oculus, which is spooky, but I have drawn this land that can get me white mana, so now I can Path to Exile this Oculus. Although I am a little worried about a flicker effect, like Ephemerate. So I would like to butter to commit some more mana to other things.
Oh, how am I supposed to focus
Like
on
that.
only one
That's pretty
project?
good. So I know I can pass this this eyeball safely. Now I could trade Leaf Leap with Phalia. But I decide to believe in my Leaf Leap.
I've read nearly the entire library.
Oh, Shadow Spear though. Thinking about Shadow Spear, thinking about Ranger. But I believe I'm going to Wingbright Thief first, so that I can see Butter's hand before I make my choice. Kiora, Eternal Witness, Snapcaster, Spawning Pod. good. And Snapcaster Neoform also in play. So I'm going to Ranger Captain of Eos, not Shadow Spear. Well, maybe and Shadow Spear? Not. Gonna go to 5. It's a little aggressive. Considering Phalia can remove a blocker. And I'm gonna sack this knight so that the butter can't play any of these. Can't play the pod and can't Snapcaster Mage for something. And I have 2 blockers for Phalia. Yeah. If the butter happened to draw removal, that's a creature, I would be in trouble, but unlikely. And by in trouble, I mean I would go to 2, but I would still be fine. I would not be dead. And then next turn I can Shadow Spear.
I'd love to hear stories from your home. Violence is
So this
my
Hamio's
best-
flipped, so my crackback is now less lethal. So I decided to copy this Kiora to see what I can draw into. And now I've got this Bogart Trawler, which can effectively turn off Tameo, Snapcaster Mage, and Eternal Witness. So I decided to do that. Again, this is pretty risky because I am at 5, but there's a lot of attacking pressure. Like that was a lethal attack if the butter didn't block anything. And now I get this Slush Portico and I got a Surveil. Jite, hello. But it might have been safer. I don't know. I don't know. I really liked not having to worry about anything that was in that graveyard. But this is the kind of play that I take, the lines that I choose. That means shadows. I often cut Shadow Spear. So I decide I just want this Jite. So the bear can hit me for 3. But three is not 0. That's match 3. Thanks for watching. Peace.